NDP leader Jagmeet Singh goes on local news and makes a complete fool of himself as he desperately tries to convince Canadians that by allowing Justin Trudeau to maintain power, he's actually doing it for Canadians' best interests. Welcome to the Canadian Shield. My name is Sterling. I'm your host. With the Liberal Party taking each other to pieces and Justin Trudeau off in the corner hiding from the electorate, Jagmeet Singh has gone on all the news trying to tell everybody that it's up to him to save Canada and that he would have done so already, but he's waiting for all of the right positions and decisions to be made. In the process, of course, he's making a complete fool of himself by talking to Canadians like we don't see exactly what's going on, by thinking in his mind that he's so much smarter than the rest of us. There are some great examples. This one reporter took him right to task. And let's be straightforward. There's so much wrong with what he has to say.
So you say the Prime Minister has to resign. You said, in fact, that he has to go. He's already said he's not going to do that. And he's shown that very clearly over this last few weeks, or the last few days. So how do you explain to Canadians that while you say you want him out, that he's not good for Canada, but you won't act on that and commit to a vote of non-confidence?
Well, everything's on the table, we've said. But it's been clear, given that we've got the threats of tariffs from Trump, that puts a lot of workers in Canada saying, will I lose my job? We know that people are having a really hard time buying groceries, just the basic essentials.
Sure.
And we got people that are saying, I can't find a home, my bills are up. Given all of that, we've got a Prime Minister that's more focused on fighting his own party than fighting for Canadians. It's clear that he's got to go.
Well, you've been saying for a long time that it's clear that Canadians are worried about their houses and they're worried about their jobs. It doesn't seem to be bothering you at all. You seem to be trying to tell the Canadians that you're going to take it one vote at a time, and that despite you saying the opposite, you're quite supportive of Justin Trudeau. You're leaving him in power because you are desperate to make an impact, or maybe you just enjoy having all of the control. Maybe you just like the fact that everybody's relying on you to save them from the disaster that is the Liberal Party. Maybe you don't want to be out of the spotlight. I don't know what it is, but I know that what you just said doesn't add up to your actions.
Right, but you're the one who can make that happen. So why not commit to a vote that would see an election in this country?
Well, I've said that everything's on the table, so all options are on the table. What I'm focused on right now is saying he's got to go. We'll see what happens in the next couple weeks.
You know, you're talking about Canadians being concerned about affordability, but the most recent polls show that most of them want an election. So if you have the power to make that happen for Canadians, and you're acting in the best interest of Canadians, isn't that what they actually want?
Well, there's going to be an election this year, 2025.
Sure,
next
but
year.
October is the scheduled date. That's a long way off.
Note the body language when he says that. He just shrugs, right? Oh, there's going to be an election anyway, so it doesn't matter. He doesn't care what you're going through, right? He does not care that you have to wait another year, that could be a whole nother session of Parliament, that the Liberal government right now is making all kinds of insidious plans and lashing out at Canadians in the way that only a narcissist can do. And he doesn't care what you're going through, Jagmeet. There's no way to stop it now, and he just wants to wait and wait and wait and wait. He wants you to believe that somehow it's going to change, it's going to be different, that he's ripped up the agreement. That nothing that the man says adds up to his behavior, right? So you can say one thing, you do another. You look like a fake, a phony, and a fraud. That's my opinion. I mean, nothing that you say matches the actions that you take. So how can you be taken seriously in any way, shape, or form? That's the question that I would pose to my audience. Do you think he can be taken seriously?
And I just wanted to say to folks out there who are worried about Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives, so I want to invite people to join us, the NDP.
And Peter Julian told CBC News that this could happen in the spring. But why wait? What are you waiting for?
Well, I'm not going to speculate on when it's going to happen. What I am committing to is that in this election, I want folks to know they have a real choice. Even though I know it's a big mountain to climb.
They have to get an election before they can make a choice.
There will be an election. There's going to be an election in 2025. But what people have to know is that if things are bad now, things will be even worse under Pierre Poilievre. And I want to make sure people know the cost. And I don't think people know the cost.
Well, a couple of things that were said in there. First off, Jagmeet, we are all aware of the cost of the Liberal NDP government. That cost we are well aware of. Anything else you say about the Conservative Party is speculation. There's no merit or any proof or any factuality in your terminology. Then he says, "Oh, just join the NDP party. Your numbers are plummeting. You're even below the Liberals, if you can imagine that." So that'll give you should give you a strong idea of just how poorly you are. Now, I heard a lot of people making a lot of fuss over that Peter Julian comment, and I think personally that Peter Julian was playing some top shelf statesmanship when he said that, because him and the party would know what Jagmeet Singh's intentions are. But I believe that Peter Julian wants Jagmeet's job. I believe that he sees that the NDP is getting torn to pieces, that they're, the once Jack Layton had them really high, and now they are just a laughingstock, a joke for the Canadian voting population. They're more of a sideshow or a second thought than they are any serious contention. And I believe that much of the blame that Peter Julian has for that is laid at the feet of Jagmeet. Like, I think that he says that our leader is no good and he needs to go without wanting to say it out loud. So he throws that out there to the press so that everybody can hear what they can get confirmation for what they were all saying, that they're waiting for him to get his pension and then he'll call an election. Meanwhile, they know by Peter Julian saying that, many more people will turn against the NDP. The numbers have come down at least 2 points since he said that, which of course will mean that he'll get trashed, he'll resign, and Peter Julian can then step up and say, I want to be leader of the NDP, which of course at that point will just be a couple of seats. So who's going to contest it? It's just what I think. Otherwise, there's no other reason. There's no benefit for Peter Julian saying that to the CBC. There's none, except for what I just described. So
there's going to be an election this year.
I know there's going to be an election. Canadians know it's coming in October. It could be sooner in the spring, but you're the one who can make that happen. So why not commit to making it happen?
It's going to happen. What I can say right now is there's going to be an election in 2025. That is guaranteed. And in that election, I'm fighting and running to become prime minister.
4 or 5 times he said it already, that there's going to be an election. We are aware of that. We set the timetable. We know that you and Justin Trudeau pushed it to go past so that many other people would get their hands on their pension. Are you getting a cut of those pensions, Jagmeet? Is that the idea? Are they cutting you back 10%? Kickbacks? I think that Jagmeet talks to the Canadian voting population like we're stupid. I think that he's one of these arrogant people who thinks because he has a university education, he knows everything and we know nothing. You would think that the amount of traction that Canadian politics has now garners online, that he would be aware of the issues and he would be aware that Canadians are aware of the issues. Doesn't seem to cross his mind. He just wants to talk to you like you don't have a clue what he's doing. He wants to talk to you like it's all some surprise. We have been waiting for Justin Trudeau. Jagmeet Singh should have called for a no confidence vote the first week of September or October, the first week of Parliament, and we would be in an election now if he really worried about Canadians instead of worrying about himself.
Given the amount of times you have said all of those things, both in front of microphones, to cameras, to Canadians, I think they already know. I think that you've laid it out pretty clearly for them what their choices will be. I'm
not going to be a pundit and talk about election dates. What I'm going to talk about is what I'm going to do for people.
You're a leader. That's why I'm asking.
I left that in there because I just like the way that she made fun of him for him repeating the same things over and over again, that he believes that he's a better choice than Pierre Poilievre, that Justin Trudeau only cares about himself, all the while Jagmeet Singh only cares about himself. And that's what he had said, and then she mocked him. She's like, I'm pretty sure they all know that. And then he tried to dismiss it by saying, I'm not going to speculate. I'm not a pundit. No, you're the guy who's supposed to be worrying about leading Canadians. But I figured it out, and I'll give you a clue as to how we might be able to get Jagmeet Singh to call an election early.
You've said on this program and many times before, this will be a case-by-case basis. Mm-hmm. What's the case that would see you continue to support them?
The concrete scenario. We've got Trump coming in at the end of January, and he's going to impose tariffs. Do we vote on retaliatory tariffs to say, no, we're not going to take that, we're going to fight back, but it's going to cost you? If you think that you can put tariffs on us and get away with no harm, it's going to hurt you. It's going to cost Americans. It's going to raise the cost of items in America.
That was a sentence or a statement of a person who has garnered the definitions of some words, but doesn't understand anything at all what they mean. So he just tries to put them together into a sentence, repeats them over and over again, and all the while making absolutely no sense. The tariffs that are going on to Canadian products that are going into the United States, of course, will make Canadian products in America more expensive. But what do you mean you're going to put you're going to tax what? Ketchup and bourbon? And then you're going to make products in Canada all that much more expensive. Right? It's already the most expensive products on earth, and you want to add tariffs. And in your mind, you think that that's going to trouble Donald Trump, who will at any moment decide that he'll remove certain tariffs on certain products if it means that the American people can have that particular product at less. But we know one of the main things that we're going to be talking about is softwood lumber, and they don't care about that. They have amped up the tariffs. So they're making it themselves. They don't need the Canadian product. They need Canadian gas and Canadian electricity. But Jagmeet, you're the one that tells the world, along with Justin Trudeau and Stephen Guilbeault, that all of those things deserve to be taxed through the roof already. So I'm confused as to how you figure putting tariffs on American products coming into Canada is going to hurt the Americans. And I'm further confused as how you figure retaliatory tariffs are going to change Donald Trump's position in any way, shape, or form. They already know what products they are making, and they already know what they're going to do. What they want is Justin Trudeau out of the way. They don't want a far left woke neighbor on their border. Of course, you would understand that if you understood politics in any way, shape, or form. Instead of just stringing together a bunch of words in an effort to try to make yourself sound like you're going to be able to lead the Canadian people out of this problem.
So we've got a choice between a vote on retaliatory tariffs or triggering an election. And what's in the best interest of Canadians?
Given the mess that we're in right now, what we've seen happen, reading that letter, do you regret not bringing down this government sooner?
No, no regrets. What I'm focused on is...
A lot of people would say those two boxes are checked. Time for you to act on what you've been saying all along, that it's time for Trudeau to go.
There's going to be an election.
I know that there is. All right, even grade 11 civics classes know that there's going to be an election.
So
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh, thank you for coming in today.
He kept repeating himself, and she finally had enough. I don't know who she is, and I'm sure that her and I don't agree on many things. But the way that she said grade 11 civics, people would understand that there's an incoming election, was a polite way to say even kids understand that. And he's trying to talk to you like you don't get it. Right? He really believes that the Canadian voting population doesn't understand what we're up against, that we would rather worry about putting tariffs on Trump than worry about getting the Trudeau Liberal government out. He wants you to believe that you would rather wait for a vote until October rather than have an election right now and get Justin Trudeau out there. That's what he's trying to indicate to you.
And yet you are the one who holds the power to actually put this to Canadians, but you are single-handedly keeping the Liberal government in power. Why is your support for them still on the table?
Well, right now there is no vote that would trigger an election, but what I'm saying is Justin Trudeau has shown to Canadians who are saying, I'm having a hard time with my life, I'm barely getting by. He's more focused on himself. He's more focused on fighting his own party than fighting for Canadians.
Throughout the whole year, you had the opportunity to put this to Canadians. So are you not focused on yourself too here?
Now, you'll note that that was a different person because he's on this tour. He thinks that he's going to go on this, great media tour, and everybody's going to all of a sudden start to say, hey, maybe he's a good solution. Never once listening to the fact that he's he's in many ways mostly responsible for the hardship that Canadians are going through. Because if he'd allowed us to call an election, we would have an election and we could be attacking this problem. I promise you, Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh are just two peas of the same pod. And they don't have any care about what's going on with Canadians. They're smug, and they just think that they are better than the rest of us. They think that they are somehow superior, and they're going to teach us all about what civics and the government in the world looks like, even though they have never in their life had to worry about a meal. They talk at us like they're not, like Jagmeet saying, it's all about Justin Trudeau. Canadians are saying Justin Trudeau. Canadians are saying they want an election. Canadians are saying that Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh have cost us a quality of life. They have taken our country back 100 years. That's what Canadians are saying. But I have the solution, and it's coming right up right now. I'm telling you, I know what to do. I've got it figured out by Jagmeet's own words.
But
That's a choice.
Life is not more affordable right now.
Of course not, yeah, under the Liberals, for sure.
I've got to ask you, though, as bad as the Liberals are doing, Angus Reid, Nanos, Abacus, they all have the NDP slightly worse. Are you not willing to call an election because you know you're going to lose bad?
Oh, no, we're ahead of the Liberals for the first time in a decade. Every major poll has put us ahead
Not
of
the polls that I've checked.
Oh, yeah, every poll in Canada now has put us either tied with or ahead of the Liberals. So
Oh my. He really is hoping to gaslight us. She's just listed off two of the main major polls. But I have just the thing that we need to see to get a strongest idea of where they are, right? Here we have the numbers from 338 Canada, who doesn't run a poll, but he pulls together all of the statistics from every various poll and then gives you the average. Now, I've looked at some of the polls. I've looked at Abacus. I've looked at, two or three. And I always fall back to 338 because I find his approach to be fairly neutral. However, you can see that the NDP is in fact behind the Liberals, and in many cases they're behind the Bloc as well. It's pretty sad when you're behind the Bloc, I would think, when you can't even when all of the Liberal seats are going to the Bloc in Quebec, and then the rest of them are going to the Conservatives. Jagmeet Singh is deranged if he thinks that the Canadian population believes a word that's coming out of his mouth. I mean, he's simply out of touch. He's living in some sort of an echo chamber where I guess he's the only one calling out his name. But it does give me an idea. If you are presented with an opportunity to like, if a pollster comes to you and says, hey, who do you want to vote for? Say the NDP. It doesn't matter if the Conservative numbers plummet and the NDP numbers shoot right up, because the second the NDP numbers shoot right up, Jagmeet's going to all of a sudden decide that he wants an election. And then we'll just vote Conservative anyway, because but he won't. It'll be great. We could just make him think that his popularity is on the rise. He'll call an election in a heartbeat. And then we can have, Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh out of the way, out of the picture, and start to get our country, healed, repaired, and back to normal. That would be awesome, because these guys live and breathe these kind of polls. Somewhere in his head, he thinks he's pulled ahead of the Liberals, and I guess that means that he thinks that he's going to be able to catch the Conservatives, when everybody knows that the Liberals and the NDP are synonymous. So anybody that's not going to vote for the Liberal Party is obviously not going to vote for the NDP, and the only people that are left are fighting amongst themselves over which part of the left they want to vote for. The one that's feeding them gaslighting, or the one that's feeding them malarkey. Anyway, it's just an idea. It would probably work. It would be funny if it would work, because I'm sure that he would jump at the chance. If his polling numbers all of a sudden rose through the roof, he would come into Parliament and say, no, we need a no confidence. And then, we could all cast our vote the way we want to. All right. I'm going to wrap here. I want to thank you for listening. I would encourage you all to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this channel with all of your socials. I will talk to you next time.